You had to bring that up. Shit. Well, early on, I don't know now if I've been forgiven, but early on,
Of course
I was a terrible, terrible partner, acting guy for Brad in particular. And I found myself apologizing profusely to him once I realized that he was right, in that I wasn't, in read-throughs, I wasn't being fair to the writers, to the producers, to anyone, the actors, because I would indulge in that kind of response or reactive response, which is tantamount to improvising or just taking something in a different direction. Brad knows this from receiving some recent texts from me that I can go off on a tangent in a split second, like in a breath, I'll be somewhere else. And that's what I kind of lived with when I was early on during our time together on Stargate. And Brad busted me. He just laid it out straight and honestly. And I was taken aback at first. And then, because I get really defensive about that, because it's so much fun. But I said, basically, I think I said to myself, maybe not to you, but I said, but that fucker is right. He's right. And I issued an apology to him and to a variety of other writers. But yeah, it just wasn't fair of me to be doing all that play stuff when we were there to work, get something done. That's not to say that it's not, that it went out the window, that whole impulse.
Thank you, because it shouldn't, and it didn't, and it also shouldn't. And I think we talked about that too. That doesn't mean that, it needs to be letter perfect ever. No, and it was a good conversation to have when we had it, because I was just afraid of it getting out of control with everybody. And
well, it did for a while. I mean, not out of control, but everybody was starting to do it. And at that point, in retrospect, at that point when they were all trying to jump on the bandwagon, that it was really annoying.
When you were on the receiving end of somebody else changing the lines.
Exactly. Is that what it's like to work with me? And I don't want to work with me. So yeah, and I don't know how that all calmed down, because I couldn't tell them to stop it because I was guilty myself. But we got
one of the things we did was we stopped having read-throughs.
Yes. That helped.
That might have been the I think that was the conversation began with, I've had enough of that shit. I'm not going to willingly submit myself to it. If you want to do it on the stage and you start realizing that'll lead to overtime, that might be the best cure.
Yeah. Well played.
Hell, I was making it up as I was going along too. I was a fairly young showrunner, so it was a bit of a struggle for me too. I remember two lines that one is the reason I think or at least you told me, was the kind of line that is why you wanted to do the show and wanted more of. And that was a line that I wrote in the pilot when you say to Teal'c after he breaks you out, "Come on," and he says, "I have nowhere to go." And you say, "For this, you can stay at my place." And you love that line. And I realized, okay, I need to figure out how to do more of those. And it took time. But then I also realized, and I don't think it's a fault, and it makes it very forgivable. And I think part of it is I would write a joke or someone would write a joke and you would go, this is funny, but it's not me. And so you would put a joke in there. It would just be a different joke. It would be another joke. And serving the scene, it just would be a different, it would be your way of delivering the humor. And I really never objected to that.
Well, that was always what I was afraid of doing ultimately was of not serving the scene or not serving the entire well, I don't want to say the franchise. I don't think we're going to go down with one joke, but
if it still serves the scene, I never really objected to that. Although I do on a couple of occasions remember coming to you and saying, the written joke might be funny. And you would try it. And I go, no, you're right. Do it your way. Because you needed to do it your way. It's just who you are. And at the end of the day, that's it worked. I mean, I kept asking you to come back and play long after Stargate SG-1 was over. So obviously, there was love and respect there.
Well, just know that I'm embarrassed by some of my behavior during that time. And I just hope you can forgive me.
Of course.